Good evening and welcome to Leaders in Action, Season 5, Episode 1. Wherever you are, we hope that you are well and doing well. The last few years have been fraught with uncertainty and change. The pandemic disrupted our personal and professional lives like no other. Organizations faced untold challenges in keeping their business afloat and engaging their people. And as we adjusted to the new normal, another disruptor, the ongoing war in Ukraine that has global economic and social impact, once again tests our determination to overcome, not even counting the multiple challenges we already face every day locally. Undoubtedly, the time we now live in and the future we wish to build demand a response of the highest quality. Thankfully, there are heads of teams and organizations who lead and inspire their people to constantly weather the storm and break the barriers.
Good evening, Mr. IB, and good evening, everyone. We are very happy to be back for our Season 5 on this first day of the Burr months. Mr. IB, ilang Thursdays na lang ay Christmas na naman. Ang dali talaga, ang bilis talaga ng panahon. Anyways, on to our episode tonight. Yes, we see organizations performing exceptionally well amidst this rough environment. Kudos to the efforts of leaders whose belief and desire to excel even during tough times never wavered. During times of difficulty and with the prevalence of negativity, hearing success stories can really be both refreshing and inspiring. The examples of leaders who spur their people into action can motivate many other leaders to do the same. That's why we are very happy and pleased to have with us tonight two of the proponents of the Philippines' top 30 leaders on LinkedIn, an initiative to celebrate human spirit and to recognize those who exemplified excellent leadership qualities and exceeded expectations. So leaders, without further ado, please help me welcome our special guest sharers for tonight. Please let me call in first Mr. Ian Santos, the founder and managing consultant of IMS Learning and Consulting. Hi, Ian.
Hi, Jay. Hi, IB. Thank you
Hi,
for
Ian.
inviting me and Anda over.
Ian will be joined in by Ms. Anda Goseco, an acknowledged and recognized global executive coach and founder of Coach Anda, which provides professional training and coaching services. So hi, Anda.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
So good evening again, Ian and Anda. Thank you for accepting our invitation to be our guest on our first episode for Season 5.
It's our pleasure. Thanks for
Yeah.
inviting us again.
Yes, thank you for inviting us. We're really happy to be here.
Salamat again for the two of you, Coach Andy and Ian. First off, congratulations in launching the top 30 Filipino leaders on LinkedIn. Certainly, the impact of these to the community can be significant. No? To me, it's like lighting a candle in the dark. When people see and realize that they are tougher than tough times, they begin to spot the possibilities, di ba? And they build hope, which can actually change lives. So, but before we talk about the makings of the top 30, which you guys initiated, siguro please briefly share something first about yourselves and the companies that you now currently have. Siguro, ladies first back.
Ladies first.
Okay. Yeah, so hi everyone. I'm Anda, or some people call me Coach Anda. And what I do is I focus on executive coaching for leaders in organizations or business owners. And also I do team coaching as well. Because in every coaching conversation that I have with leaders, they always talk about their team. So I like focusing on aligning teams, focusing on engagement, and creating high performance for the leaders and the teams.
Ian,
Sure.
please share something about yourself and your company, please.
Yeah, I'm Ian. I'm the founder and managing consultant of IMS Learning and Consulting. It's actually my passion project. No, I do training on the side. I've been national sales training manager and nationals for Coca-Cola and Colgate in the past. So it's really my passion to teach and train on sales and leadership. Um, on my day job is I'm the sales director of Sanofi Consumer Healthcare. So that's my day job. So I do this when I
Mm.
have time on the weekends. So this is my passion project. Do sales training and consultancy.
Thank you. My little question to you on leadership, Ian, is what is a leadership quote that has guided you in your career and profession?
Oh, madami, no? But siguro, I would say, um, one is, I'd probably say two. One is everything rises and falls on leadership, no, by John Maxwell. So that's one of the things that I always remember. And also, I if I remember it right, it was Lao Tzu who said this na it's better for your people to be recognized and just as a leader just stay at the back and
Yeah.
support them. I'm the sort of leader who sort of wants to stay in the background and just let my people shine.
I think that's to me a wonderful trait of a leader. Okay, so my little question to you is, what's your simplest or most simple definition of coaching?
Of coaching.
Yeah.
Well, it's very different from mentoring because I just want to say that because people think that mentoring coaching is exactly the same. But mentoring is when you teach someone a skill. But coaching is really asking powerful questions, helping people just realize things on their own. And when they realize that on their own, there's more accountability, there's more ownership, and
Mm.
there's more possibilities for them to change and to do things.
All right. Thank you. Thank you both. Now we go, if you don't mind, we go now to the topic for tonight. Uh, First question is, what was your inspiration behind the top 30 Filipino leaders on LinkedIn project?
Well, our inspiration there was all about where the times are right now because we've gone through a pandemic. So
Mhm.
2020 was a big deal for all of us, and we saw a lot of leaders who were able to lead their teams despite of the challenges and of the environment around them. And what we wanted to do was to recognize those leaders who are able to really help their team level up and to be able to overcome the challenges of the pandemic. And that's why we wanted to narrow it all down also to the top 30 leaders who are able to just be inspiring and be able to create that impact with their teams.
Thank you. So essentially, it's really about first acknowledging that there are those who really rose above the situation, and you want to recognize them and for others to hear their story. Wonderful. Thank you. What naman were I'm sure you have very clear objectives when you were planning this major project. And what were those?
So we had four distinct objectives, no, IB. First is really recognize Filipino leaders who were active on LinkedIn, who exemplified select leadership traits that we identified, and we can talk about that later. And then secondly was to really start a movement to enhance leadership quality and leadership in general in the country, right? Third was to create a community of leaders who help each other sort of sharpen the saw, no? So, di ba, meron saying na iron sharpens iron. So we wanted to start a movement within LinkedIn to do that. And then finally, we wanted this Philippines top 30 leaders on LinkedIn to inspire fellow leaders to elevate their game. So it's all about elevating and enhancing leadership in the country if you put it in one sentence.
Thank you. It looks like that this is something that we will be looking forward to in the years ahead. Mukhang talagang ang issue niyo, yung your concern is sustainability, no?
Mm.
So thanks, Jay.
Yeah. Putting this together involves a lot of moving parts. Coach Anda, if I may ask, what are the most exciting parts of the project, of this initiative?
Well, for me, it was when we were seeing the nominations coming in. So we had about 500 nominations and 150 unique individuals from those nominations. So it is really exciting to see that because the nominations alone itself was already spreading the word on all these leaders that were what the people wanted to recognize. So although we narrowed down to the top 30 leaders, you could see that there's still so many leaders out there that are really worth recognizing. And it was just really great to hear their stories, because what we did was with the nominations, we also made the people who nominated fill up a form, and then the ones also who got nominated fill up the form as well. So we got to really understand, hear examples and stories of really outstanding leaders. And another part that was really great, so this is a team effort. So it started with me and Ian as a team. And we also got other people to help us, and these are the judges. So we got partners from ANC, from AIM, from Marketing in Asia, from Great Place to Work. And so putting all those people together and believing in the same cause was also very exciting. So like the whole energy of everyone believing in the same thing and wanting to just elevate the leaders and recognize them was something that we really enjoyed.
If I may add, Anda, no, Virginia Bautista was also part of the original
Yes.
group who put this together. She's the creator of the top 100 Filipinos on LinkedIn. So
Okay.
unfortunately, right now she's still recovering health-wise, but the three of us were really the people behind it, no. So
Yeah.
shout out also to Virginia Bautista.
Yeah. Yes, of course, Virginia. And the thing is, every time we'd meet, we'd get so excited. It didn't feel like work. I mean, because I guess it was conversations with a purpose, and we all were really, the three of us were really all aligned on how we wanted this to be.
Coach Anda, was the 500 nominations below or far beyond what you were expecting initially?
It was beyond what we were expecting. I mean, because this is the beginning, right? This is the start. So we didn't know what to expect, and we didn't think that there was going to be much more than that. So it was really great to see those 500 nominations. That means there's really interest out there. That means that there, like I said, people wanting to recognize leaders. So this is something that is pretty exciting. So it means it's important for people.
Mhm. Now, as it is exciting, I'm sure there's also some challenges, no, in sifting through those 500 nominations. So, aside from that, what were the other challenges that you had to face, no, when you were putting this project together?
Well, some of the challenges also was it was a really long list, and we had to also filter. We had to look at them one by one. We had to narrow it down. I mean, for the judges, because we also had to like really also filter that as well. But from the 500, you have to filter that to just 30. And that was a bit of a difficult task to do. But then, like I said, it was the stories naman that we were reading, the profiles, the things about the leaders that got it really interesting. So we kind of we could see themes there.
So, how long did it take you to finish that, to go through and finish that process?
How long was that, Ian?
How
I
many
think
sleepless nights did you have reading those
Naman
stories?
sleepless nights.
some sleepless nights. The process was about a month to gather the nominations and another month just to sift through all of it and just narrow it down. So it took that long actually. As Anda said, we didn't expect it to be that much. No, I remember Anda, we were saying if 100 people were nominated, we should be happy, and it turned out 150 people were nominated. So we were
Yes.
quite happy with the turnout.
Mm.
And really was a big project, no, and a big success. So congratulations to you both and to Virginia, no, for
Thank you.
really, no, spearheading this wonderful initiative.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you.
So like I said, it's really a team effort with me, Ian, and Virginia, and the judges as well, and even everyone else who nominated. That was all part of the team that really got this movement going.
And considering this is the first time, so wala pa kayong masyadong promotions nito,
Yeah.
Wala na,
di
yeah.
ba, no? So ano to,
Yeah.
lip service lang ba ang nangyari?
Yeah, syempre may
Eh,
ano, That's why may konting kaba rin kasi, it's the first time we're doing this, so we didn't know how the response was going to be. That's why it was a really good response
Yeah.
that we got from others.
Yeah, to be frank, Anda and I are getting pressured na nga for next year kasi parang we set the bar a bit high na eh. So,
Yes.
but let's see.
I'm sure next year will be much better.
And I wanted to say also that one of the reasons why we want to use LinkedIn as a platform, because in LinkedIn kasi there are so many business owners, leaders who are there. I mean, more than like Facebook kasi as a platform is more of like for socials. But if we really look at LinkedIn, and we felt that not too many people were going on LinkedIn and using, kasi use it a lot. And we see that we're able to build business, connections, friends from it. And so we want to encourage other people to use that platform and see that, there are a lot of inspiring stories that people post, and, you're able to connect with people. So I think it's a great platform to use.
Having said that, Anda, after this announcement of the winners and the promotion of this initiative, did you see a good increase in the traction of people joining now the LinkedIn community?
It's hard to measure that though. But what we saw though was that we created also like a what do you call this, like an area where we called it the top 30 leaders in LinkedIn. So it's
Yeah,
like
a LinkedIn page.
a LinkedIn page, yes, not an area, but a page where people could also join in. So that's growing also. So hopefully that will also grow bigger and bigger to get that traction.
It now has 1,200 plus followers actually, so we're quite happy with that. So we're hoping more leaders will follow that, and then as Anda said, no, to build the momentum as well for next year.
Can you repeat again that page so that the leaders watching us right now can start following it?
Philippines top 30 leaders on LinkedIn. That's the exact page names on LinkedIn.
Okay. So the initiative itself, no? So
yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so leaders, please do check that out, because according to Ian earlier, the stories of the 30 leaders, tama ba?
Yes, actually, that's a very rich page kasi Anda and I wrote about each leader there. So you have 30 profiles that the people can learn from just by reading.
And aside from that, we want to continue growing the content, make it also richer by putting relevant things for the leaders on how to, because it's really about elevating leadership, right, and inspiring each other. So we're hoping to put even more content even after this.
Good.
Yeah,
that's good. So maybe again, to the leaders listening, we encourage all of you to go to that page and follow that page for all of the materials and insights and ideas that you can get from them.
One last thing I wanted to add though was that because Filipinos have great leadership traits also that make us great Filipino leaders. So it's also like that's why in one of the top 5 values we had, which is malasakit. That's a very Filipino word, and we didn't want to change it. We didn't actually know the English word for that, but malasakit was already perfect enough. So we wanted to make it very Filipino, and we were thinking about what are those Filipino traits. Yeah.
Thank you, because that segues to my next question to the two of you. You see, as you are into leadership, there are countless leadership traits, right? And it must have been difficult narrowing the list down. So question is, how did you identify the 5, and why specifically these 5 traits? And as mentioned, malasakit is one of them: inspiration, integrity, courage, and resilience. Paano nyo na narrow, and then why did you agree on the 5?
So if I remember it right, Virginia, Anda and I were meeting on that specific question, IB, and I remember we started with a list of probably 15 traits that so each of us contributed what we think the trait should be, and then the key way that we used, or the key parameter that we used to narrow it down, is we asked ourselves which among these 15 leadership traits help leaders and organizations survive the pandemic or thrive in the pandemic. So parang ano ba yung mga traits as a leader that were very much useful and very much valuable to their people during this pandemic that we wanted to highlight in this top 30 list. And that's basically how the way we narrowed it down to the 5 leadership traits, IB.
All right. I guess when I was looking at the traits, no, I realized that they are really more people focused, no. And I suppose yun na nga because it was during the context of a major crisis, no. More than the results or outcome driven, di ba, yung mga financials normally, no. And although of course it's very clear that when you have these traits consistently in the organization, they will generate the results that the organization want, di ba, for the business. So okay, so clear yung pinagmulan at ang dahilan kung bakit nauwi sa 5 traits na ito, no. Thank you.
Right. But IB, if I may add, no, you mentioned kasi results, no. So while we did not say results in that list, no, one is two things should be like parang I would say minimum. So they have to be competent as leaders, number one. So kumbaga that's a given. You will not get into the list if you're not competent. And number two, you have to show good results during the pandemic. So those were the two items that's not in the list, but parang ginawa namin yun na those are the bare minimum. You have to be a competent leader and you have to have been successful with the results during the pandemic.
Yeah,
So very good inputs from you, IB, as well.
Yeah, and another one to add there is, of course, the character. So putting that all together, and those traits really make a great leader, and not just a great leader. Like if you look at the people as a part of the team, you want someone who doesn't just have competence. You want someone who also has character as well, and who's able to deliver the results.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
The 500 nominations and the 150 unique individuals came from how many industries? What industries did they represent?
Oh wow, that one we weren't able to count, Jay, but that's a great question. I would say practically all industries.
All industries represented.
I would say practically all industries were there. We didn't count exactly, but sobrang diverse niya eh.
Okay. And when you started getting all the names, no, the 500, again, for the benefit of our leaders, can you walk us through or how was again the process in selecting the nominees?
Yeah. So what we did was we made the people who nominated fill up a Google form and give concrete examples on why they voted for that leader, and we had certain questions to help us filter if to show that these leaders really demonstrating those traits. And then aside from that, we also asked the leaders themselves to also fill up a form to help them also self-assess themselves and see how they were able to be those kinds of leaders and demonstrate those traits during this time. And then from there, from the answers also, that's how we came up with the top 30. And then from that, we narrowed it down but to a certain number for the judges, Ian and I, to deliberate and finalize who's going to be the winners of the top 5.
So may I ask Coach Anda, from the nomination, what was the process in choosing the final 30 top leaders? And from the 30, meron pa kayong top 5 di ba? Parang yung top for each of the traits, no? So ano yung naging proseso sa pagpili nun?
Well, yeah, so it is a lot about, we had to look at the stories, the impact, the examples. So we talk about the impact, its impact to the organization, not to the team, but even outside the organization, also to clients as well. We had to look at how the leaders were actually leading during this challenging times using those 5 traits.
Okay.
It was not that easy, no, as you can imagine. Like for example, there would be a lot of very good leaders, but siguro, like for example, to give an example, if this leader showed more traits than the other one, like 5 out of 5 versus 3 out of 5, then we choose the 5 out of 5 to be in the short list. Parang ganon. And if this leader, both of them are 5 out of 5, pero this other leader showed better results for the organization, then that leader would go into the final list. So
Okay.
it's not a perfect science, but looking at several variables, as Anda mentioned.
Yeah.
When they make the description, should they describe how this nominee is manifesting the 5 traits? Ganun ba
Yes.
yan?
Yes, yes. They're
Yes.
supposed to give examples, how they're supposed to show how they were able to manifest it or show it in the organization, the business that they were leading. So that's why we had it's a bit tedious because we really had to read and look at all those answers also and determine which ones really demonstrated those leadership traits. But
Right.
if you look at it naman, parang all of them also demonstrated leadership. I mean, that's why they were
Yeah.
nominated anyway. But then we
Yeah.
had to look at, and they had to qualify it even further, like looking at the impact and examples.
Yeah, kasi for example, no, one leader would probably have a very nice write-up of himself or herself, but when we compared it to the actual nomination form of their people, parang di yata aligned. So
Ah,
that's something that we also
okay.
looked at, di ba? From the
Okay.
leader's
Oo nga.
perspective and the nominator's
Oo,
perspective.
oo, oo, oo.
Yeah.
So dapat talagang aligned.
Yeah,
Oo, kasi we wanna make sure that talagang merong clear-cut examples and their people actually tell, are what their people are saying is actually what the leader is saying
So
also.
there should be no room for doubt or
Oo kasi
yeah,
alam mo,
contest.
kasi in any, 'di ba, in any awards, 'di ba,
Oo.
maraming there's no perfect awards
Yes,
in the
yes.
first place. So you wanna when Anda and I tried our best. I'm pretty sure we're not perfect, but we tried our best to really get the cream of the crop. But I'm
Mm.
pretty sure, and again, no, we cannot expect everyone to be happy with the top 30, no. And as Anda said, there are a lot of leaders on LinkedIn that probably deserve to be on that list. And hopefully, with this inaugural edition, we would get
Yes.
more nominations next year so we
yeah.
could feature more of leaders that are deserving to be there.
And I want to
And
see also those uh, 150 unique individuals. These are people also we celebrate as well. I mean, although they're not part of the top 30 list, I mean, they were there for a reason. They had really good stories also. There were interesting things in what they did, the impact they created. So we just had to narrow it down. But then I just wanted to also celebrate those other people who were nominated as well. Yeah.
for clarity, only people in the LinkedIn community can nominate and be nominated.
So number one, you can nominate even if you're not in the link on the link in the LinkedIn community. But to be nominated, you have to be active on
Yes.
LinkedIn. So I
Okay.
think if I remember it right, and one of our parameters was this particular leader had to be active 90 days before the nomination period started, meaning they have to be posting. Hindi naman kailangan every day, but
Yes.
at least we see them post. Kasi we want to encourage people nga to be more active on LinkedIn.
Okay, okay. So I think that somehow gives some clarity, no, on the whole process. Again, for the benefit of the leaders, no, who are watching us right now, and who knows, no, by next year, no, they themselves can already participate.
We would love to have more leaders, even from the insurance industry, join us.
Yeah.
I know
Okay,
we have some,
babasahin
like
mo.
Mariel is there, right? Mariel Tablan is there
Oo.
already.
Yeah, oo. Marami tayong gustong makita ng mga entrepreneurs, no, itong mga agency leaders natin who are not really company employees, no, but they are leaders themselves na makapag-participate. Kaya niyo pa bang mag-screen ng 1,000 nominees?
I'm sure we will find a way, but for
So,
us, the more the merrier.
yeah.
And by the way, you don't have to be like a CEO, ah. As long as you're a leader, leading people, kahit 2 tao lang, okay lang.
A leader.
So we're
Yes.
hoping also that this movement really gets people thinking. So, as we continue to talk about it, as people were posting, because it was nice, no, the response even after. So when we announced the winners, people were reposting, resharing. There's a time we were even trending on LinkedIn, diba, Ian?
Right, right.
Yeah, because everyone was sharing. So it is nice because it's more of like also the message that we're putting across. So like helping people think about, oh, I want to be also that kind of a leader. And so it helps them also, people who are reading it or aspiring to be a leader or are already in a leadership position, thinking about what it takes to be also that kind of a leader, to be able to lead your teams and the organization.
Maybe later on we can explore how we can support each other because we are in the same same
Yeah.
advocacy, no, of
Right.
Yeah, I
promoting.
think we both believe in the same things. That would be exciting.
So
Exactly.
that's, again, I can just imagine the amount of effort. Hindi lang sleepless nights, eh. Di ba? Siyempre, when you make decisions, naku, napaka-stressful yan. All right, so again, congratulations on the entire team. Now, going naman to the winners, di ba? Congratulations to the winners. With this award ba, I'm sure they will surely be inspired to continue whatever that they have manifested, no? And the reason for their winning the award. But question is, do you have any specific expectations from them? For example, like promoting more aggressively those leadership traits outside of their own teams?
Yeah, we don't have expectations from them naman. But what we want to do is, I mean, we didn't explicitly say that, but like let's say what we're doing right now is trying to also partner with them. So let's say on September 3 at 6 p.m. we're have 6 to 8 we're having a leadership conference, and it was actually a partnership with Francis Kong. So he's going to be our moderator, and we chose four leaders there to talk about different topics. So it's still talking about resilience and leadership. It's leadership lessons from top leaders. So having collaboration like that, making like I think that's how it works. So thinking of ways to just help each other build this movement, build the beliefs on how to really elevate leadership, will make it also very strong and very powerful. So we're looking more forward to that. So more collaborations with each other, and we're hoping the other leaders that can also collaborate with each other with different things, coming up with their own things also on their own, to be able to just create this that impact of elevating leadership, what we're looking for.
But by the way, as Anda mentioned it anyhow, so we'd like to promote it. It's a free webinar on September 3. If it's okay, IB and Jake, can I briefly
Yeah.
Please,
promote it?
Please, please.
You can just visit the Philippines Top 30 Leaders LinkedIn page and just register there. It's a top-notch conference featuring Francis Kong and four of the Philippines Top 30 Leaders and our partner Tony Talosic from a Great Place to Work Philippines. No, and it's sort of also for the benefit of Virginia Bautista. No, we're not gonna charge any money from anyone, but anyone who want to support, or feel free to donate. But you can register for free. It's a great session. I think tamang-tama yung timing. I think this recording will come out September 1, right? So it's
yeah,
September
yeah.
3, Saturday.
Yeah.
All right.
And the
What time
Okay.
will it be, Ian?
Sorry?
What time will it be?
6 to 8 p.m.
Okay, 6 to 8
September 3, Saturday. So we'd love to have you there, Jay and Ivy, if you're free.
Yeah,
Please
we will.
register.
Yeah.
Yes, we
If
will,
you
will
just
announce.
actually
Will
go to
invite.
our page, Philippines Top 30 Leaders on LinkedIn, we've been
Yeah,
posting about it also as well, and maybe that's where you
Yeah,
can register also.
yeah. Anda and I will be hosting.
okay,
Oh,
all
okay.
right. Good. And related to that, prior to the this interview, Ian, you've mentioned about you and Anda coming out with a podcast on leadership. Might as well mention that at this juncture.
Oh, thank you for that, Ivy. No, so the podcast that Anda and I launched just last June is called Resilience in Leadership. So it's available on YouTube, Spotify, and other podcast channels. No, so the recordings are on YouTube. We've had several guests already with the likes of Josiah Go, Dean Pax Lapid, Paulo Tibig, and upcoming will be Boris Joaquin and Francis Kong in the next 2 months. So we'd love for your viewers and listeners to if they could also check that out.
All right. Thank you. So again, so many beautiful materials that you can access. No, parang kung isipin mo, there should be little reason why leaders should not be successful. Diba?
Right?
Of
It's all
course,
for free.
diba?
Yeah.
All right, ha? So again, thanks to your efforts, tuloy-tuloy niyo yan, ha? Marami kasing leaders tayong dapat talagang tulungan, ha?
We'll do our best.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what we wanted also was to, since it's for Filipino, parang customize it for Filipino leadership also. Because, like in other countries, like you're also leading in different ways, right? Although there are common things in leadership, but it's also nice na it's for Filipinos, right? For Filipino leaders, and understanding our culture, their environment, that context, to be
Not
able to
only
Yeah.
for Filipino leaders, but by Filipino leaders also, sharing by
Exactly,
Yes,
Filipino
exactly.
for
leaders,
Filipinos, for Filipino leaders and by
by
Filipino
Filipino.
leaders. That's
Although, iniisip ko rin, if I'm an expat, kasi sa industry namin, alam niyo, maraming mga expat
Right.
Yeah.
But pero kasi if they get to listen to this, they will tend to also understand the mindset and the ano of a Filipino leader, which therefore will help them manage these leaders as well, di ba?
That's a great point, IB. I fully agree.
Pwede, pwede. Okay, good, good. Ha? Lumalawak na lumalawak ang talagang gusto niyo gawin. Go kayo dyan. Ha? Go kayo.
Now, given the successful inaugural launch of your wonderful initiative, do we get it right that the top 30 Filipino leaders on LinkedIn will be an annual event already?
Well, that's the plan. Anda, go ahead.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was just gonna echo what you said. It's a goal. Hopefully, we get to do it again next year.
Now, will you continue highlighting the 5 leadership traits that you earlier identified, or given the dynamic nature of business environment, will there be some changes on the traits where the nominees will be evaluated on?
I was gonna say that, yeah, that can, I mean, for now that's it, but then it can also change as well. So we go with also what's happening, what's current, what's relevant also as well for the leaders and the environment around us. And we have plans to, like, aside from the partnership with Francis, we have like thinking of a quarterly leadership conference. We're also having some other plans in the way. Can't reveal that yet, but when it comes, we're gonna talk about it. And then we also have that, like, the resilience and leadership podcast, and just encouraging other people to do the same also. It's not just us. We're hoping that more and more people can come up with things like this for leaders and teams.
Yeah. So,
By the way, it's on Facebook as well at the Resilience and Leadership Podcast. We have it on Facebook as well.
Facebook also.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means more platforms, more leadership programs, more empowering, opportunities for all our leaders. So again, congratulations to you both, and thank you for that wonderful initiative.
Mm.
Thank you. Thank you.
Before I go to the next question, kasi parehong nakangiti yung dalawang guests natin eh. So gusto ko itanong, how does it feel to create something like this and then it turns out to be more than what you expected?
Feels really good. Well, more than good, it's really inspiring. I mean, we're inspired by the stories. We're inspired. We are leaders ourselves, and we're inspired by them. So it's just like I've always believed in. There's not really one expertise. You can learn from each other, and really using the community, and that's a very Filipino also, the community, and helping one another. So that's a positive way of just really being able to grow together. So just even finishing that, it's not over yet, but we have also opportunities to even meet with you. That this is one of them. Collaborate with Francis, collaborate with other people who believe in the same thing. So it's just like really, really inspiring work, really.
Yeah, for me naman, if I may add, IB, for me, it's really fulfilling kasi we're not just highlighting Filipino leaders in the Philippines. LinkedIn is a global platform. So can you imagine how much we are sort of hopefully helping elevate the name of Filipino leaders, or Filipino leadership in general to the global community, di ba, we always talk about leaders from the US, from Europe, but we have very good leaders in the Philippines that the world needs to hear about. So I think that's something that's bigger than what Anda and Virgin and I created, and that's very fulfilling.
I totally agree with what you're saying because the kind of, siguro based on the stories that you've read, diba? The kind of challenges that our leaders face every day, all right? And the difficulties brought about by so many variables, and yet they're able to do well, no? It's really inspiring. Now, alam niyo pag ganito usapan, very fluid, ang bilis ng oras eh. So, ito na yung aking this is from my end, yung question ko sa inyo, siguro final question ko na sa inyo. To each of you, any final word to our agency leaders in the insurance industry as they continue to face a world of uncertainty and change?
For me, in facing uncertainty and change, it's all about facing it with a beginner's mindset, right? So learning, unlearning, and relearning. The most difficult part is unlearning. But then we don't have to see unlearning as something negative. We can see it as opportunities to grow. So if whenever we think of change as, it's based on our relationship with change. But if we see change as it's an opportunity to grow, to be better, maybe there's something it's showing us. And if we face it that way, then it's a gift. There are surprises that come with it. So like the pandemic, it was very difficult, but it's a lot of unearthing who we are and getting to really know ourselves. So that was a gift also. So there are good things that come out from it. So just a perspective and the way you look at it. So if you're able to manage yourself, I've always said that if you are able to manage yourself and know yourself, you're able to manage the environment around you.
All right, well said. Thank you, Anda. Ian?
For me naman siguro no, I forgot who said it, but it's not always the strongest or the wisest no who succeed no, but those who are able to adapt to change no. So as long as you as a leader, if you're agile and resilient enough, you can weather any crisis or storm. So that's from my perspective.
Well, once again to both of you, Coach Anda and Ian, thank you for sharing with us the inspiring story behind the Philippines' top 30 leaders on LinkedIn. No? We are one with you, as we've mentioned earlier, in celebrating the Filipino leaders. So all the best to the both of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Ivy
much for
and Jay,
inviting us. Thank you.
for inviting us. We had a great time. No? As you said,
Again.
time flew very fast. Thank you.
Ang bilis eh. Oo
Oo
nga
nga,
eh.
no? Ang bilis, tapos na kagad yung ating interview. So thank you again, Ian and Anda, Coach Anda, for joining us tonight. Leaders, after hearing the straight from the people behind the Philippines' top 30 leaders on LinkedIn, I'm sure you are also interested and excited to hear the individual stories of the top leaders in each of the 5 leadership traits that were mentioned earlier. So to kick off that series, next week, we are going to feature the inspiring journey of Miss Mariel Tablan, the LinkedIn top leader for Malasakit, and currently the training director of AIA Philippines. No? Gusto nating malaman, gaano ba kaimportante ang malasakit mula sa isang leader at paano ba mas magiging o mapapakita ang pagmamalasakit ng isang leader sa mga panahong halos lahat ay nasa computer, through virtual, So gusto nating malaman yan at marinig. So we do invite you again, leaders, to join us next week. Thank you for joining us tonight on our first episode for Season 5, and we do invite you to continue making us your Thursday 8 p.m. habit. So kita-kita tayo ulit. That's next Thursday, September 8, 8 p.m. here in Leaders in Action.
Real leaders.
Real stories.
And real talk.
Thanks,
you.
everybody. Thank you, Ian and Anda. Good night,
Thanks for
everybody.
having us,
Take care.
Ivy and Jay.
Thank you.
Thank you.